So in this video, I'm going to demonstrate how I would use the review function in chess.com to analyze a game I played or some other players played. So we have like input the notation into the in this analysis mode, and then I will switch it to the game review section. So the computer has already done the analysis and mark some comments, some notations on the moves. So if we look at the visuals here, so I was playing as white, and you can see I am doing pretty well at the beginning of the game. So I have like 1.7 positive until move around 9. So there's double question mark, which it means that's a mistake, a big mistake. So since then, I think my opponent has performing well than my position, and later on, the game ended up as a draw. So how I would analyze position? First of all, I will like
E5 is a common response.
Yeah, you can turn on the audio, but I would turn it off. You can read the text here. The thing is, I make the move, and there are some like dubious or inaccuracy moves. But my point is, I really want to know why there is a sudden drop from like positive 1.7 to -2. So that means this is a huge mistake I need to review and think about. And the move turned out to be queen d2. So yeah, it says it allows opponent to eventually win the bishop. So it looks like we blunder here, and so my opponent take the e4 pawn. That's also something I will lost. Hunting pawn. That's also a problem, but this problem is looks minor if we looking at this comment. We lost the bishop after this move. So what does it mean? I think the problem is after h6 we have to move the bishop, for example, and the queen will take the pawn, and the queen will fork a knight and a rook. So we cannot protect both pieces in one move. So we have to choose either losing the bishop or losing a pawn and a knight or a rook. So if I click queen e4, this is a miss. But when I click best, yes, h6, that is the best move. And we saw the bar drop to -2. And I'm pretty sure we can click show moves. So the engine will calculate a couple of moves. Yes, after this variation. Exactly, we lost the bishop, which is the minimized loss we can possibly get. If we move the bishop, I'm pretty sure the queen will take my pawn and fork. So this is one solution. We can analyze the arrows. But another thing I would like also to introduce is if we go back to review, and for example, queen d2, we know this is a blunder. And before queen d2, we are quite positive, right? So we are like up 1.7. That's a significant better position. And we have this inaccuracy with bishop g5. So I will also click like best to see what is the suggestion from chess.com. That is queen a4, and there's some reason why the engine thinks queen a4 is the best move, because it develops a queen. I think that makes sense. And if we clear show moves, the engine return like a serious move from both sides. So I think the main essence is white can make the king safe with castling and develop pieces and control centers, winning pawns, etc. etc. But the problem is I don't fully follow every single move of this very long series of moves. So another thing I highly recommend to do here is, let's go back to this position, bishop g5. This is an inaccuracy move. So I will move this back a little bit, and I will switch to review mode or self-analysis mode. And there's an option we can practice with computer. So I will try to let the very strong board to play as white, and I will switch to play as black as my opponent to see what is the best plan from the computer, and I would try to fight against it. To imagine if I were my opponent, and if the bot play something I didn't try on in this game. So is there any difference between my moves or my plan and the moves from the bots? So that's the idea. So when I click practice with computer, there is another tab popped up, and I can switch sides. So okay, so yes, so interesting. White play castle instead of queen a4. If you remember, that is a move suggested by the computer. But I think that shouldn't matter much, because these two moves we can play like interchangeably. Castling is something we need to do. We need to make the king safe, and perhaps the bot, this is a very strong bot. It has a rating 3,200. It's very high. I think this is the smartest bot on chess.com. So then I would imagine if I were playing as my opponent, how would I move my pieces? First of all, the queen is blocking my knight. I cannot really move the knight. If knight to e7, it block my dark square bishop. And maybe I will move my knight to h6. It's a bit awkward, but this is something I can do. And so I will try knight h6. Let's see, 3 white keep developing pieces. So I think one difference from my move, like bishop g5, is that the computer is more patient than I was. So it develops pieces, right? So it doesn't rush attacking black pieces, because I think white is aware black pieces are really awkward in position. The queen is blocking the knight. So why do we have to kick the queen away? And the bishop can go to e3, for example, target a7, instead of kicking a queen and without any further target to aim at. So let's see. So I have to castle, or I have to. So if I move bishop to c5, the pawn will kick my bishop. That's really irritating. I have to move bishop back, so I will move it to. I don't like bishop d6 because yeah, the other two pawns are blocking that. So it's really hard for me to maneuver pieces. And what about, yeah, I will try bishop e7. Okay, now we can, it's a time, the laptop or the bot play bishop g5. I think that makes sense, because if I move, for example, queen to g6 again, the e4 pawn is not hanging, the g2 pawns are not hanging, so queen to g6 is way less dangerous than the move we saw before. So if I move queen to g6, another problem is if I take the bishop, the king has to go up, the king cannot castle, and black will lose e5. And it seems the best move is queen d6. The position is really awkward. And c5, that's I think that's a very good move, because it forced the queen to move away from e5, and white take my knight first and take my pawn. So my king side is destroyed. The g file is open and the king cannot castle. The center pawn is captured. So if I play d6, we don't have to play like till the end. So the thing is, we need to analyze. So why is the bot choosing this way? So e5, I think the theory behind it is because the king is at the center file, so it's better to open up the file to attack the king further. And yeah, so if I take the pawn, okay, so that's really bad. I think I'm losing this position because there's a fork, right? So this is the move from bot, and I think if I compare this series of moves, with my moves, I can clearly figure out, instead of moving the bishop to g5 right away, white choose to castle and move the knight, and then kick the queen. And there are two reasons. First of all, when we are fully ready, so for example, when we are developing the knight and making the king safe, the e4 is protected, g2 is protected, and then we attack our opponent. We are more prepared and we have more opportunities to win material or control good squares. And another thing is, if we look at the position, that the queen f6, as I said, is really awkward. It blocks the knight, and it has to protect the pawn. So we don't have to kick the queen, and we just leave it as it is. So the queen will be an obstacle for the development of the knight. So that's the reason I think the bot is teaching us what is the best move, or the reason behind it. And that's it.